Can we all please have a seat now? We're going to introduce Adalberto Quijada.
Muy buenas tardes, bienvenidos a todos ustedes. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the U.S. Small Business Administration, it is a pleasure to be here, to welcome you also to our district that covers the counties of Orange, Riverside, and San Bernardino. And it was mentioned earlier by the Assemblyman the importance of those numbers related to small business. So for us, at the SBA, we have definitely taken those figures, those statistics, and what those numbers mean to heart. And 10 years ago, at one of our signature events in Orange County, we signed the first ever MOU with the California Hispanic Chambers of Commerce, which we are delighted that it continues after 10 years. And in the 6 districts in the state of California, the 6 SBA districts, my counterparts all have embraced that and have worked closely with all of the affiliates throughout the state. So we're very, very pleased, and we want to thank the Chamber once again for being in our district and welcome all of you. Now I have the pleasure of introducing a very special guest for the International Trade Segment panel. As a senior executive for Region 9, Donna Davis was appointed by President Barack Obama in 2013 to serve as the U.S. Small Business Administration Regional Administrator. Donna oversees the management of capital, contracting, and counseling services to entrepreneurs and small businesses throughout Arizona, California, Guam, Hawaii, and Nevada, and leads a team of 130 employees who work diligently to help small businesses and entrepreneurs start, to grow, to innovate, and to export. Previously, Donna was the CEO of the Arizona Small Business Association, and as a successful entrepreneur, she also started and grew 4 successful domestic and global companies. She was a senior executive for a high-tech Fortune 500 corporation, and early in her career, she worked as a park ranger at the Grand Canyon National Park. Donna is honored to serve this region, and we say it's the best region in the entire country, and is passionate about helping small businesses and entrepreneurs gain access to the resources necessary to advance economic development, job growth, and competitiveness throughout our region. Please help me with a warm welcome to Regional Administrator Donna Davis.
This is on. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us for the 37th California Hispanic Chambers of Commerce Convention with a great theme, Innovation Starts Here. It is so exciting. And I want to thank the Chamber and all the members for your collaboration, working so closely with us as we work on various initiatives and priorities for our small businesses and entrepreneurs. And I also want to thank the Santa Ana District Office. We have 68 district offices in the nation, 6 in California, because it's such a big state. And Adalberto Quijada, as the district director for that district office in the field, and Rachel Baranek, the deputy, and all the staff that's here, they work tirelessly on behalf of the communities that they serve in the 3 counties, like Adalberto stated. So thank you, Adalberto and team. Now I have the pleasure of, for the International Trade in California, we have a wonderful group of panelists who are going to share their insights, expertise, some suggestions for considerations. All of those who are a small business and entrepreneur in the audience, please raise your hand. I want to see all of you in there. All right, thank you. Well, on behalf of the SBA, I want to thank you for your courage, your determination, innovation, and your willingness to take risk and follow your dreams. You truly make a significant difference in our communities, and we are a nation of small businesses, and as Jim said, you are the economic backbone and the heart and soul of our community. So thank you again for what you do. Now I'm going to introduce our panelists who are going to come up, and we have, let me get my little cheat sheet, Jeffrey Williamson. Well, actually, I'll start as they're in order. Dr. Danielle Wheeler, and she is the Executive Director for the March Joint Powers Authority. We have Jeffrey Williamson, the state of California. He is the statewide director with the Center of International Trade Development, and he's also the director of the California STEP acronym, that's ours, a State Trade Export Expansion Program. Next, we have Richard Swanson. He's the director of the South Network or region for U.S. Commercial and Foreign Services, which is in the Commerce Department. So, Richard, thank you for being here. And last but not least, Angel Sanchez, who's the COO and Director of Global Operations for Phoenix Technology, Inc. And I'm also proud to say that he was a finalist in 2014 for the SBA Exporter of the Year. So thank you, Angel, for being here. I'm going to ask each of you to pick up a microphone and just briefly give a quick intro about yourself and your company. Danielle, are you good to go?
I think so, yes. So what is the March Joint Powers Authority? It is the federally recognized local reuse agency tasked with developing surplus federal property as a result of a base realignment and closure round at March Air Reserve Base. To promote international trade in 2000, we created Foreign Trade Zone 244. And I'm looking forward to telling you more about it.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Again, my name is Jeff Williamson, and I run the state trade program for California in cooperation with the Small Business Administration and the Governor's Office. And I just want to thank the California Hispanic Chambers of Commerce. We've worked with them for many years to promote trade on several different fronts. And I think this is a really great topic, and I'm honored to be part of this discussion. You know, when we start looking ahead at the next generation, or even just the next 10 years, the next 10 to 15 years, we're going to see our exports more than double in the next 15 years. Most of that demand for our products and services is going to come from emerging markets, and particularly those markets in Latin America. So it's a great conversation. I'm excited to be part of it.
Richard.
Buenas tardes y bienvenidos, damas y caballeros. Es un placer. Yes, Richard Swanson. I'm the Regional Director for the U.S. Department of Commerce. Specifically, though, I'm with the U.S. and Foreign Commercial Service. We're sort of like the Marines and the CIA of international trade and foreign direct investment. Our assets expand all over the world. My colleagues are both here. In fact, Erica Ramirez, please stand up. She is our Regional Trade Specialist associated with me today. We also have Fred Lotta-Parisa here, our Director in the Inland Empire. And if anybody wants to know, we have our directors all over the state of California, from San Diego to San Jose to San Francisco to Sacramento to Fresno to Orange County. We're here to promote exports, but also foreign direct investment. That's a great opportunity for you out there with all of your connections throughout Latin America, South America, Central America, and North America. So don't forget that. We have lots of services. We'll get into that. And Angel, I think you've used a lot of them. And here you go.
Buenas tardes. My name is Angel Sanchez, and I am, as mentioned, with Phoenix Technology, Inc. And a little bit about our company. We've grown in the last, first off, let me start by saying we're a 44-year-old company that's grown gross sales 166% in the last 4 years by entering the foreign market. And so we went from what I would consider a micro business to a small business here in Riverside. Most importantly, I represent so many of you, small businesses that are really the future of California's export and continued growth. I want to welcome you to my city, born and raised here in Riverside, and it's exciting to have so many wonderful people coming to visit, and of course some of you that have been here before, so thank you.
Great, thank you very much. The Small Business Administration, it's an honor and a privilege to work for them, for myself, to support the 28 million small businesses across this nation, 3.6 million of which are here in the state of California. Also, I think an important number is that there are nearly 3.5 million Latin-owned businesses in the nation that pump in $500 billion a year into our economy. So this segment is about international trade and exporting is vital because it is such an important economy, especially in California, in our growth and stability. I know at the SBA, our lending last year, fiscal year, was up 26% to Hispanic businesses, so we look forward to continually to support our small businesses. But we're going to jump right into our questions. Because one thing that we do know, I want each of you to think of what percentage of the world's purchasers live outside the United States. Think of a percentage. It's actually 95%. 95% of the world's purchasers live outside the United States, which amounts to about 80% of the purchasing power. There's approximately about 300,000 companies who are actively exporting. And of those, about 98% are small, medium enterprises. So you can see how small businesses and entrepreneurs have a big piece of this pie. But the good news is, or the opportunity news, is that's only 1% of all the businesses that could be active in exporting in international trade. So the first question, and I'll start with you, Angel, is what are the greatest benefits that you found, because I know you've done a lot of global business, benefits of engaging in the import-export world?
Well, money, honestly. I mean, when we look at it from a sales perspective, just a matter of a few years ago, we were a smaller company that had a good domestic presence. Today, we are now in 20 countries, and we're represented by 95 distributors. I mentioned our sales have climbed about 166% in gross numbers, and that's something hard to do with a niche market. We're a manufacturer of rescue equipment, specifically firefighter helmets is our key item, and to have that type of growth potential, and really we're just getting started on that. And so frankly, when you look at, I kind of look at it as when I was a kid, if you were looking for that opportunity, if I told you you could stay on this street and sell your candy for $5, or if you left this street and looked at the entire neighborhood, you could sell it for $100. Your potential's exponentially available out there, and so that's why I think all of us in small businesses are there is to succeed. I don't think we're there to just to be comfortable, and so.
Go ahead, Richard.
I would just say that, from a small to medium-sized enterprise perspective, Angel, that you have an advantage here in California. We have a lot of, impediments and a lot of challenges, right? Doing business maybe in California. But California products, whether it's safety or whether it's processed foods or whether it's film and television exports or whether it's cosmetics, are very, very highly valued. You can go anywhere in the world and you can say the United States, and that is a brand. But when you say you're from California, it is a brand that speaks, mountains of opportunity in anywhere in the world. And I think you've leveraged that quite effectively. So don't be afraid to use that branding of California. We stand for quality. We stand for opportunity here, and we have leveraged this part of the world very effectively, both south of us and east of us and west. Jeff?
I just took a group to Hong Kong for food products, and one of the companies you're very familiar with, they make the sriracha sauce. So the Hoi Fung Foods making a Thai sauce in America owned by Vietnamese, and now they're selling into China. So this is really what it's about, is it's not just about I mean, when you go into these new markets, when you start doing business, you also can identify new opportunities for products all over the world, right? So it's a matter of not only sales development, it's new idea development, it's product development, it's things that are going to help you diversify your business and move into new product lines.
So from a local government perspective that's interested in helping businesses stay in California, the Foreign Trade Zones program helps them be competitive in a global market by helping them act as if they're operating overseas by taking advantage of certain incentives within the Foreign Trade Zone program. We're able to keep and create jobs locally by tapping into the global demand. With Foreign Trade Zone 244, just in northern western Riverside County, we moved $2.1 billion worth of product through the zone last year and had over 800 people employed. These are your neighbors, your friends, it's you. So we're happy to help.
Great, and I want to piggyback on what Richard was saying. You know, the SBA is divided into the nation into 10 regions, and California is in Region 9. And like I said, 68 district offices. But the thing about Region 9 is, first off, it consists of California, Arizona, Nevada, Hawaii, Guam, and America Samoa. And we are #1 in the nation of the 10 regions for most of the metrics for SBA. And that's great opportunities here with California being the 6th largest economy in the world. But in this particular region of those states, nearly 20% of all the small businesses in the nation are in this one region, Region 9 out of the 10 regions. And last year, we accounted for 23% of all the lending activity for the agency in the nation in this one region. So we have a lot going on, a lot of opportunities there. Is there any particular tip that comes off the top of your head that you would share with the small business and entrepreneurs in the audience? You know, something very positive to do. We don't always have to start with you, Angel, but if you'd like to lead the way.
I don't get the time to think about the answer. Well, in all reality, I think some of the biggest obstacles that we have is ourselves, and we're afraid to take risk, and we're more afraid to actually seek help and take advantage of. And so I would strongly encourage you to take advantage of all the wonderful resources that exist out there. And I'll tell you, just a few years ago, we had no idea we were doing an international trade, and we made, first off, the leap of faith to take that risk. And we assigned personnel that were going to go through training, and we were able to benefit from really over 300 or 400 hours of almost free training, or very close to that, for our personnel, just so that they can become experts in the field. Our approach was, let's figure out what we're doing, and then once we have that down, then we'll start expanding. And Jeff and I met several years ago, and I had no idea what I was talking about. And so reaching out and developing those partnerships is really going to be your catalyst that's going to help you take off and expand your business. So I would encourage everyone, those of you in small business, develop partnerships. You'll never know who you're going to meet at a function like this and what they're going to be able to do for you, just like I did when I first met Jeff, or when I met with the Riverside County Office of Foreign Trade. There's a lot of potential out there, and you just need to jump on it.
I'm going to give you $5 for that comment after the panel. But I think the most important thing, in fact, when you really think about trade and all the risks that are involved, and this is supported by feedback. We've done surveys of over 700 businesses in California, and most of them, their biggest challenge is finding somebody that they can do business with in Mexico or over in Asia or wherever. So it's identifying these trading partners, and good ones. And the empirical evidence shows that the #1 critical factor for success for small companies is the quality and depth of their relationships in these other markets. So having said that, I'm sure I know Angel spent a lot of time developing his relationships. I know this is something the Latino community embraces, is the need for developing those relationships before you do business. But you can't do it long distance. You actually have to go to market. So if you have the opportunity to go down to Mexico City, for example, participate in a trade show in Mexico City, quite frankly, it costs just as much as going to Chicago, but you have a chance to start developing those relationships you need to succeed.
I'm just going to tag on to that. You know that old adage, we're government and we're here to help, is kind of a pejorative. But it's actually true in this case. If you look at Riverside County's Office of Foreign Trade, they have 30 bilateral trade agreements with countries all over the world. And chances are they have a connection to help you make connections in whatever country you want to do business in. Additionally, there are 17 foreign trade zones within the state of California, so you're probably located near one or within one that can also help you make those connections.
You know, Jeff mentioned, he wanted this face-to-face will never replace, fax to fax or computer to computer. But in reality, before you go overseas, do your homework. There's a lot of market intelligence we offer out there, all of us, to you both in trade finance, market intelligence. XM Bank, for example, which is in the house here, offers a political assessment of every country we do business. That's a great place to start. But also remember, you're in the trade show capital of the world here between Vegas and California, right? You have a lot of foreign delegations, a lot of foreign businesses. Just about every type of industry exhibits here in California and in Las Vegas. And I'd like to say, too, that the fastest probably segment of the export market is not necessarily merchandise products, but services. Don't be afraid to offer your services globally. Okay, whether it's accounting or whether it's photography or whether it's engineering services or travel and tourism or education and training, that's an export. We exchange and we generate revenue back to the United States. It helps create jobs. And get online. Figure out how to do e-commerce. Make sure your website is globalized. Not necessarily localized, but globalized, okay? So that you're in a market that folks know that you're able to accept their inquiries and you can respond timely and effectively.
Great, thank you. We do know that companies that export grow faster, employ more workers, and pay higher salaries and wages than companies who only sell domestically. Again, just to reiterate what you're finding, the opportunity there. But what are the biggest obstacles affecting export and import? Danielle, I'll start with you.
Sure. From a government perspective, it's just a lack of education, trying to get the word out there to these businesses. I'm sure it's a very scary prospect to go into a foreign market, just kind of demystifying and teaching the businesses what's available to them. That's what I see as some of the biggest hurdles.
From a federal perspective, we want to make sure that you're exporting something that doesn't have necessarily a dangerous dual-use purpose, right? So you're exporting steel to China, we want to make sure that it's going to the right end user. So from an export controls perspective, that's mostly for safety and security reasons. But then in the overseas market, you have unseen foreign trade barriers. And so you have to do a little market intelligence within that foreign country to figure out what are the quotas, what are the tariff duties, what are the distribution channels, and that sort of thing, and that'll help you gain access to that market. Angel?
Yeah, I kind of actually mentioned earlier that the biggest obstacle is yourself in a lot of cases, but beyond that, I think really one of your biggest obstacles to success, in my belief, is going to be not knowing what you're doing. And what I mean by that is not taking advantage of the educational opportunities that exist out there. We've done webinars, we've done classes, we've done sessions of any shape and color, and it's to learn what we're doing so that once we enter a market, we're successful. And we've utilized relationships through U.S. Commercial Services to make sure that our potential distributors are really on the up and up. And so I think that's one obstacle to success, and it's a little bit different than what I think you might have been looking for. But it's important to recognize that that knowledge is there. There are going to be other obstacles, and most of those we've been able to, in fact, all of those we've been able to overcome through the relationships.
Jeff, do you have anything you want to add?
Sure, I'll add to that. I think the biggest obstacle is actually perspective. I think that oftentimes we look at these markets through the lens of our own sunglasses instead of putting on their pair of sunglasses. Because in many cases, the environment's remarkably different. The players are different. The competitive situation is different, and actually what the people are interested in buying and using and promoting also can be quite different. So I think once you overcome the perspective, you're going to run into all those things here. You have commercial risk, you have regulatory risk, you have all these things right here. Over there, you have a different set. So I think it's perspective.
Okay, great. What are some great sources to help small business and entrepreneurs in this realm in international trade, to engage in international trade?
Well, first of all, go to export.gov. That's our portal for many of the federal trade agencies. We all put our export-related data up there. We've just come out with new metro area export statistics. We have a plethora of country data. In fact, if you go to export.gov and you search for the market research section of the website, look for the country commercial guides. We're just going to publish 2017 later on this fall, but 2016 still up there. This is great information for you to benchmark what you need to do politically, economically, fiscally. It'll give you the top 10 markets for the top 10 sectors. It'll give you all the resources within country. It's a great place to start, the country commercial guide, and you can just Google it and you'll find it.
Yes, obviously I look at Department of Commerce, the California Hispanic Chambers. They do trade missions themselves. We have a lot of business groups. There's a lot of industry associations, SEMA, that does for automotive aftermarket. You have AMPSOCal, aerospace. There's a number of business associations. My group, the Centers for International Trade Development, in cooperation with SBA, we run the State Trade and Export Promotion Program. But overall, you can find these resources across the entire spectrum. Even go to universities. Universities have many connections around the world you can leverage. So it's a matter of, once again, just taking a look what's going on in the community, plugging into these various groups. They all have channels to different relationships.
I think in addition to the universities, look at your local jurisdictions. A lot of them have sister city programs that have those connections overseas already, and you can leverage those as well.
Most of it's been mentioned, but we look at what service provides what need. And so, of course, if we're looking to develop a relationship in a new market, we work with the U.S. Commercial Services. If we're looking, the CIT and the SBA have really were our education component. And so we actually went to them for a number of classes, everything from Incoterms to how to fund letters of credit and so forth. Your local Office of Foreign Trade, if you're a business located in Riverside, the Riverside Office of Foreign Trade is phenomenal. And so I'd encourage you to get with them. And they're good with really in establishing relationships internationally, but also in establishing relationships with all of the other factors. And so, and frankly, Google, look and see what's out there. Just make sure that you're following the right track. Export.gov is a phenomenal website that has a lot of information, but we look for training opportunities literally on a weekly basis.
Great, thank you. And I'll put a plug in for the SBA because obviously it's very important for us to help small businesses take advantage of the new global market opportunities. And we do that through access to capital. We've had record years of lending in the last 3 years, and this year plans to be the same. In California, in this region alone, we did over $6 billion in lending last year with our lending partners. So thank you to our lending partners, and which is extraordinary. We're the #1 region in the nation for the agency for lending by far. Also, we do help with contracting, help small businesses last year get $92 billion in federal contracts. And the third thing, which we're very active in the export arena, is our training. Some of it we do ourselves, some of it we do with our partners, whether it's the small business development centers, the women business centers, the veteran business centers, or local government, city, state, county, federal. So we're there and we're very active in that space because we find that if you can mentor and learn from other people who are doing it successfully like Angel, that makes a big difference. They can help with the learning curve. So the next question I'm going to ask is, how do you see the future of international businesses and entrepreneurs in California? Any comments about moving forward?
Okay. My observation is that you have to get very, very skilled in digital marketing. The fastest growing area in the global economy is data movement. And when we look at consumer behaviors, the fastest growing area is online purchases. Just to give you an example, and we can look at any part of the world, Zumia in Africa, we can look at Alibaba in China, which is twice the size of Amazon and eBay combined. Lazada in Southeast Asia growing at 350% a year. Mercado Libre in Mexico. Overall, the world is shifting dramatically into this digital commerce arena. And it used to be very expensive to take an individual order, a small product, ship it anywhere in the world. It used to cost $40, $50. Now you can do this for a fraction of that price. I mean, now it's affordable to buy something in another country, have it pass through custom, and come to your front door almost as if you're buying it domestically. So this is a really big area. I see a lot of need for small businesses to really dump a lot into that area, social media marketing, building around e-commerce platforms, and globalizing.
I think honestly that your farthest international neighbors are right next door, and so when we look at how to do business in today's market, it doesn't matter whether somebody's in Bangladesh or Chile or in Canada or in your backyard. Business is almost immediate now, and so of course the digital age has helped lead us into that. But when I look at our 5-year and 7-year projections and build our business plan around, we're going from really not having an international trade presence to projecting 50% domestic, 50% international. And so our business is moving forward with a plan of enveloping all of the world. And I kidded around at an event last week that we still have 176 countries to go. But honestly, that's how I feel. I mean, the whole world's out there for us to take advantage of. And those of you that are in small businesses should be looking at those same opportunities. It doesn't matter the distance. It doesn't matter. It used to be that phone calls would cost you $50 to make a call into Asia, and it's all immediate. My phone or my computer will light up with a Skype call, and I'm looking face to face with someone that's 15 hours away by flight. So truly, I think we're a matter of this generation really taking over a full global marketplace.
Richard or Daniel?
Yeah, over the summer, California was named the 6th largest economy in the world, and that is just a huge potential for businesses to tap into. Leveraging foreign trade, especially in the Inland Empire with such a logistics focus, it's just a natural. I see businesses taking off and really taking advantage of it.
I think, less is more. I think, California's era of being, big business is trimmed down now. It's more lean, it's more competitive. If you want to compete with China, go smaller. Our shorter runs, our quicker runs, our more dynamic and more flexible and customized runs are really good. Don't be afraid of the internet of making things, okay? You can do it. Community colleges are starting to ramp up. I think this year will be one of the first years in a long time that the state of California is pouring some money, some much needed money into the community colleges to help you with these targeted sectors of employment, including manufacturing and automation. And so take advantage of these skill sets. I'm not saying a 4-year degree isn't where you want to go eventually, but in the meantime, retool, rethink, and get out there in the overseas world. And if any of you are overseas, I welcome you to visit our U.S. consulate or U.S. embassy. I will personally make an introduction for you. Establish that relationship with your U.S. embassy, your U.S. consulate in that foreign market, and it will go a long, long way.
Great, thank you. And I would encourage you to go to sba.gov. One of the tools we have on there, if you search for international, is an export planning, business planning guide, which is very useful. And of course, we couldn't do without what we do without our partners such as this. Any last comments before we close?
Let me, I guess, close primarily by saying, I remember there used to be a grocery store, but tell a friend. There's a limited number of people in attendance today. Share your success as well as the information that you have. I don't look at ourselves as having competitors. I look at ourselves as having partners and really establishing this, forget being the 6th largest economy. Let's move ourselves into the 5th and do what we can by helping all of our fellow businesses to be successful. We're responsible for establishing 4 additional businesses just out of our company. Share the wealth, share the information that you have, and really make sure that you're taking advantage of the opportunities and that your neighbors are as well.
Okay, well, good. I want to thank our panelists. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and your time and your efforts, because we're all of us together are here to work diligently on behalf to help our small businesses and entrepreneurs start, grow, innovate, and export. Because at the end of the day, what we do know is when small businesses win, our communities win, and our nation wins. So enjoy the conference, and let's continue to dream big and be bold and prosper together. Thank you.
Can you guys hear me? ¿Cómo estamos? Bien? Así me gusta. My name is Albert Clark. I'm the chairman for the Southern Region. I sit on the board for the California Hispanic Chambers of Commerce. Can we get another round of applause for our panelists? International trade is so important. For me, I'm extremely happy to hear the word Panama. I'm originally from Panama, so hearing my country as a trade partner is very, very awesome. So I love that. Today, I want to make sure that everybody engages throughout the convention. We have some wonderful panels this afternoon. We have Millennials in Action, how millennials impact the economy. That's going to be a great panel. We also have our Chamber Leadership Institute. We have training on our chambers. And one of the highlights of our convention is our Hispanic Shark Tank. So at 3:15, come back to this room for the Hispanic Shark Tank. And we also, next to this hall, in Exhibit B, we also have a trade show. So make sure that you stop in, visit our sponsors. We have some great sponsors in there. You can get a free massage hosted by Lincoln. So we have some great gifts. Google's there, LinkedIn. So make sure you stop by, enjoy the convention. I'll see you all here back at 3:15 for the Hispanic Shark Tank. Muchas gracias.